Well, one of the worst things happened. Before my beats here, I lost 4 discs in a practice round and in the Tiger Open 2 weeks ago that I've relied on for over a year. I knew how they flew, very reliable. But when you lose a disc out of your bag, like a PD that innova made, you can't get those again. They're not just available anymore. So the begs the question is, if you're gonna build a nice repeatable bag, how do you do it? Because if I lose something, I don't want to have to go searching high or low or go to Facebook or eBay to buy a $50 disc to replace it. That's not a smart way to go about this. So everything I've done, going through the used bins, I have so much Innova, Discraft, Discmania to choose from, but I've noticed a trend inside Replay. Replay gets a ton of the new Discmania in the used bins. There are probably 8 or 9 C-Line MD3s that feel really good. And I could lose an MD3, an FD3, an FD, and replace it without any concern. Because I know I can go back to Replay and buy a bunch of these. So even Gannon's done a good job of transitioning over to some of like the newer Swedish-made plastic, and it does feel pretty good. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go to Bill Allen. Bill Allen is my local course. I play pretty well there. I know how discs should fly. So we're gonna go see if I can replace some of these harder to find discs in my bag with ones that I could just go to Replay and restock on so I don't run into that same issue I did this last weekend. So here's what we're bagging today. I'm gonna go with the P2X. That's the putter the Gannon's using. It's pretty similar to the Cash. And I also have the P3X, a little bit deeper than this one, which is a P2X. I've been sitting on that one. I'm excited to give it a throw today. I've got the Razor Claw 3 from a couple years ago, that Tactic or P4. The MD3 I was talking about, those feel really good. And the Glacier, loving this disc. And probably the prettiest disc I've pulled in a long time, in my opinion, is that DNA MD5. Gotta go with an FD. I didn't have an FD2. I'll have to find one, or an FD1 maybe. Got the Function, the FD3. I'm really excited to throw the FD3. It feels good in the hand. And then that Splice that I really love the look of that one. It's so unique. And of course, I throw a lot of PDs, so we're gonna have to try out that PD. I got 2 Cloud Breakers, got this Spooky Series 1, and one of the recent ones that felt a little bit more overstable. Let's hit the course. Let's see how this goes. So we're going on hole 1 here. Again, Bill Allen. It was so hot. My camera took 2 holes to chill out with the lens, but I'm gonna go with that MD5. Just a Spy Kaiser. I normally go A2, and the MD5 is basically an A2. So it felt super comfortable in hand, and we pretty much parked it to start the round. I was pretty pumped with that. Also, I'm just kind of like legitimately curious how switching to just one manufacturer is going to go. But, you know, switching with the P2X, which is like a slightly wider version of a PA3, which makes a lot of sense. This one, a little bit of a shorter hole. Don't have to throw it too hard. You just have to hit the gap and stay low with the FD3. And eventually caught up and hooked up at the end. Flew more like a Sexton Firebird in my bag today. Gave me like an edge of circle look that didn't really give it much of a chance there. But no big deal. We're already 1 under through 2 holes. We can move on to hole 3, which has been my nemesis when it comes to an ace. I actually played with Hayden. The first time I ever played a casual round with Hayden, I sold him one of these Razor Claws when they came out, and he aced on this hole with the first throw. So I was like, oh, let's try that. Just kidding. These are way more overstable than I remembered. But really similar to a harp. Luckily, it's such a short hole. You can miss and you still get your birdie. Not a perfect round so far, missing hole 2, but we're on to hole 4, which I was really excited to throw this disc because I have not thrown this disc before. I've been waiting to. It feels like a PA3, it feels like a Cash, and I was excited to give this a throw. Oh my God! Oh, I think we aced! I think we got it! Hey! Check it out. Maybe it does help you throw like Gannon, throw his discs. What? Oh, how did that get in here? All right, so here's the basket. We threw it up here. I don't even know how it made it through. What did you go through? Sick. Look at that. We'll take that ace. Was not expecting an ace right there. How cool is that? I'm throwing this brand new Cloudbreaker. Hadn't even taken the sticker off. That was also my first throw with that disc, by the way. So that was even cooler. So I'm gonna have to decide if I replace it. And this is a par 4. It's a long one, 621. This Cloudbreaker I thought was gonna be more overstable than it flew, which is not a bad thing. It left me with maybe 160 N with the Razor Claw. So now that I got one toss with the Razor Claw, I kind of knew how this was going to fly. Just wanted to get it to crash down on that green, the little hillside. Stopped pretty much perfectly for me. So all I have to do, tap in for 5 under through 5. So that ace helped me get on track. The best I've ever done through the first 9 is 8 under. This is really where you can score. And I probably should have moved the camera so I could run up a little bit more. I wasn't sure how the FD would fly, so I wanted to go over the top with the PD. I think probably should have gone Cloudbreaker because I caught a tree. You can see it right there as it comes into the green and ended up almost making that circle 2 bid. But I'll tap out for just a par here. And we're moving on. This one's kind of a bonus birdie. I like throwing an eagle at it with a little bit of an ante over that little pond that'll eat up your disc. So no harm done. It's a good thing we got it high enough over those trees. So now I know PD maybe wasn't the play there, and I was going with the FD3 here. This is kind of like the ideal FD3 hole. Just like the babyest of Anheuser's, it pushed really far and skipped right past the pin. So I'm pumped about it. I try to throw my flat top Firebird here all the way, but I can't seem to get it there. And was able to get that birdie to get to 6 under. So we're having a good round. I could tie my personal best if I get the next 2. I'm going with the splice here. It's a really high shot. You got to throw it straight up. It's 258. And I was pretty shocked that splice went that far. Kind of left me with a just edge of circle bid here. You got the limbs, kind of a tough one, and I just caught it. Barely kind of slowed me down, so I couldn't hit that one. So no big deal, tap out. And then we're on to the last one. I hadn't thrown the P3X yet. I'm not the biggest fan of like really tall putters in hand. So I did, you know what, I figured I had to throw it on this hole and was able to go from an E. Actually, sometimes feel better putting from an E. I don't know why, to get me to 7 under. So 3 misses, but the ace kind of makes up for it. And this is one where I usually would throw like an overstable mid smoothly here. I thought I threw this smooth, but this Glacier goes so much farther than you expect. I would have had to kind of pull off a miracle putt here. I thought I almost did for a sec between those trees. Take the par, move on to a par 4. This one is 388 feet. I figured I would give the MD3 a throw. I wasn't sure how flippy it would be, but I got down there, and this is why I have the function in the bag. So this is a disc that I've been throwing. It's kind of like your get out of jail free card. I couldn't see at that point how close I was to the pin. Walked up and realized it's just a tap in, and that function saved me a stroke there, saved me a putt, and I was pretty happy about that to get another birdie with Gannon's function. This is one that I've birdied a couple times, going with like a really, really tight forehand line. And I went with what I felt like was a more understable Cloudbreaker, but I almost went back in the creek there. Kind of left me in with a bit of a tricky approach here. I went with splice, and my goodness, that thing is so overstable. It's confusing how I could throw it uphill 280 feet, but you take the speed off, that thing, it just dies. But was able to connect on decent little C2 bid there with the P2X. Again, just like a little bit wider diameter PA3, maybe like a slightly shallower. And hole 13, there's no thinking here. It's the splice. Get it, rip it down the middle. This is a par 3/4. I always play this as a par 3. And just a little tap up here with the Razor Claw. So like, things are gelling. Like, I'm not complaining like at all about these discs. I'm like truly impressed so far. Going here with that ace disc, that P2X. It's got some nice fight at the end of it. I'm a really big fan so far. And switched over to a straddle putt. Was feeling pretty good about the straddle inside 20 feet. Get to 9 under. So they're both P2Xs. Again, feel really similar to my PA3s. That's what I was putting with. That's probably why you see the other disc there. And then going FD off the tee, it kind of felt like it would be a little flippy, and boy, did I almost hit the tree. It's like a 519-foot hole. All I had left was a little chip shot with the Razor Claw 3. I get it, why the Discmania players really only need the tactic. And I think if you pair it up with a, an MD5, that could be good. And then this again is a little sneaky Glacier. You got to throw an Anheuser here through this gap and then get it to finish. And I think the thing that surprises me most about the Glacier is how straight it goes. And then it dumps at the end. I did go out of bounds there, so that was a par save. Didn't get it. Going with the MD3 because I hadn't really seen how this flew yet. And this is probably like one of my most exciting discs that's actually going to make the bag. I just like look at my expression there. I was kind of blown away. Like, what? That's like kind of where my Eagle almost got to the other day. So just going with a little layup here, we'll tap out. I mean, kind of wish I would have given that more of a run watching myself back. Like, why didn't I like at least give myself a chance? But something to note, and we get to double digits under par last hole here, going back with the MD3. And man, there's nothing better than puring that line. Oh my God. Yeah, Luke, you can be happy about that one. So this is going to wrap it up. If I hit this, I get to 11 under. Not my course record, not my course best, but with a lot of discs I didn't have a lot of reps with, I'm really impressed with the Discmania lineup. So I think I'm going to try to start working some of these into the bag so that I don't end up in the same situation like I did last weekend, where I lost a disc and I felt like a fish out of water a lot of those holes. What do you think, guys? New Discmania, kind of starting to grow on me. All right, I will catch you all in the next one. Thanks for joining me.